28 for our LJ Realty team members, and we will go through the housing market update with the interest rates, what's in the news, and we have few topics that will help you with your clients. Okay, if you can learn one thing out of these meetings, that'll be more than enough. Okay, if you guys have any questions, meanwhile, you can just unmute yourself and just speak up. If I'm going too fast, going too slow, let me know as well. And if you hear any static, any issues, video or audio, just tell me right away. Okay. We shouldn't. I did fix the network thingy, so we should not have any issues. Okay. So let's get started with our LJ Realty team meeting, and I'll get started with the interest rates first. So according to Freddie Mac, the interest rates for a 30-year fixed rate was around 6.67, and you can see the 52-week range. So for the whole year, we saw the lowest 4.99 and the highest 7.08. We're still on the higher end, and let's compare that to our mortgage news daily, and that is showing 6.92, and that is a little bit more accurate compared to Freddie Mac. And if you're going for FHA, you might get a little bit lower interest rate, around 6 point, let me just add 6.63. Okay. Definitely will not go with the ARM because it's already on the higher end and it will change down the line. But your 30-year fix at 6.92, and your FHA 30-year fixed is going to be 6.63. Okay. These interest rates, when they go higher, it does affect your affordability. So a person that was looking for a property, maybe their price range was around 600,000, because the interest rates goes up, maybe now they qualify for less. So a lot of different factors go into affordability. So we're going to use this one of the scenarios here. Let's say if it's a couple making $110,000 and they saved up around $60,000, and their monthly debt, right, their minimum payments, they're making around $200, and we said the interest rates are 6.9, the property tax 5,000, and your property insurance around $1,500, right, on average. If you use this scenario, this couple can purchase a house up to $629,000, right? And that's your debt to income ratio of 49%, and that's really aggressive. The lower you go, they will qualify for less. Not everyone wants to make a payment for $4,200, right? Maybe they want to make a payment for maybe less than $3,500, you know? So if they want that, then they need to purchase a house that's a little bit lower value. Okay. So that's one scenario. Your second is that, let's say they're only making $85,000 compared to 110 that we saw earlier, but their savings is a little bit more now. They have saved up $100,000 over the years as couple, and they were getting ready to purchase a house, so they took care of all their minimum payment debts. So there's no outstanding balances on their Discover or any other credit cards or anything like that, and they're still getting the same interest rate, 6.9, and same property tax and insurance. This couple can get a house up to $645,000. Okay, and their payment is less than $3,500. Okay, again, this ratio is on 49%. The lower the better for you, because you don't want to be held accountable for majority of your income just going toward mortgage, right? But when your clients are talking to the loan officers, our loan officers are going in depth with these scenarios. Okay, so they can be like, okay, fine, I want this price range, but I also want to make sure that I stay within this budget of making monthly payments on whatever their number is. Some of these guys have, they can afford $6,000 payment, no problem, and some people don't want to go over $3,000. So huge differences. And the loan officers will definitely give them a breakdown. Hey, this 3470, how's that broken down? Majority of it is going towards your principal and interest, 2,900, and then your property tax and your insurance. Obviously, if they pay less than 20%, they have to pay PMI, their private mortgage insurance, and that will increase their monthly payment. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? Anything on your mind? You guys can just speak up. Okay. So let's go through some through the headlines here, right? Converting home office spaces into residential places, right? We're seeing that a lot in New York City, where since COVID hit, a lot of businesses said, hey, virtual is fine. You can work from your house. I'm going to mute you, Gene, but when you want to speak up, you can just unmute yourself. But yeah, a lot of businesses or a lot of commercial places are not being fully being occupied. So the landlords are saying, instead of keeping them vacant, why don't I try to get a permission from the city and turn them into a residential places? So if that happens, it is already happening. More it happens, we'll have more inventory out there, even in New York City. Okay. Second headline you can see here is only half of. Yes, 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 Joseph. Go ahead. Yeah, it will depend on which area and what zoning it is in. It will be either condos or co-ops, depending on the building itself. You're welcome. Yep. And then the second headline you can see is that only half of the non-homeowners think that they'll be able to afford one, right? Simply put, when we said interest rates are going higher, you afford less. So people have that mentality that, hey, I cannot even, purchase a house right now or even think about it. So like we said, instead of assuming, why not speak with the loan officer and say, hey, I don't want you to run my credit or anything like that, but I make this much. Do you think how much I can afford a property for? Right? And they will tell you. But just half of the home non-homeowners think that they won't be able to afford one. Okay. Next, we saw this is a big one here that U.S. House passes a bill to reverse the mortgage fees changes. So recently, starting May 1st, there were some changes done where a good credit a person with good credit was still paying a little bit higher fees, and there were some benefits to the person who has lower credit scores. So we still want to help out the person that have lower credit scores. If you're reducing the fees, if the government is reducing the fees for them, that's great. That should be done. They're already doing it with so many other programs, so why not do with these mortgages fees, which is our your LLPA, right? But why you want to penalize someone that's already doing, has a good credit score? So they're trying to reverse that. The first step was the U.S. House. They passed the bill, and that was voted 230 to 189, and now it's towards going towards the U.S. Senate. Once the Senate passes it, and then hopefully the president signs it, it will go back the way it was before. We still want to help out the people who have lower credit scores. We don't want to deny that fact, but we don't want to penalize this person that's already, has good credit score. Any questions on that, guys? This is a big one. All right. Next, you have your monthly income. Sorry. Yeah, monthly home prices rise again in low inventory market. Again, the inventory is super low when you're trying to purchase a house. You guys, as realtors, are showing so many houses. Every time you guys showing it, usually within a day or two, a week, that property is gone. It's going under contract, even for the higher price than what you offered. It's just because of low inventory. And how many houses do we actually need if we want to say, hey, we have enough supply out there for these properties? Uh, 4.3 million. That's a lot. 4.3 million more homes needed to meet the demand, right? So we need a lot of houses in order to balance. So some of you guys might have student loans. Some of you guys will have borrowers that have student loans. So you guys should know something about this. So for past 3 years now, there was a pause on your student loans. So let's say you had a balance of $10,000, you were making a payment, you didn't have to make that payment for last 3 years. This came after COVID and it was paused. and it was extended a couple of times, I believe 9 times or more. But now it's officially being over with that pause. So it's official that the student loans payment will restart in October, right? Education department says. So you want to make sure that if you're having that conversation, especially our loan officers, they'll be having that conversation as well with these borrowers. If there's a student loans, that will affect how much you can afford now. Maybe before, if it was not counting against your monthly obligation, now it will. Okay. So when can we see inventory increase? And we always say this in every meeting. These homeowners that's locked in at a lower interest rate, they will not sell that house and buy another one for a higher interest rate, right? It's just a difficult thing to do unless you really have to move forward, right? So according to Robert here, it says when mortgage rates hit 5%, expect a flood of housing inventory. I believe on this along the same lines, as long as it's a little bit below 5%, definitely the people that were debating should I sell now or should I wait or should I just renovate the place and just live here? Once that 5% threshold is there, there's going to be a good chance that it'll be an easy decision for them, right? Once that happens, it'll be really a good news for our realtors because we'll have more inventories to sell. Okay. So then for your home prices, there's a good news and a bad news. The good news was that for home prices rose third straight month. So month to month it did well, but first time in annual in a year it actually declined from year to year value of 0.2%. Not a lot, but month to month still increasing, but year to year it decreased a little. Even if the prices adjust a little, right? We as realtors, we know that it should be perfectly fine. We just need inventory out there. We have more inventory, we can sell that property, right? If the prices, if you guys have that conversation, or if your client says, "Hey, will the market crash?" You should be, we can't say 100% of anything, but just looking at the stats, looking at these meetings that we're going through, all these in-depth research that we're doing for you guys, like the inventory is a real problem, right? Until then, the market cannot crash if it's being balanced by your inventory. If inventory increases a lot and your prices decrease a little, it should be perfectly fine. We have seen the prices increase over the last 3 years by a lot of percentages. So even if they decrease a little bit, it's perfectly fine. Okay. We just need more inventory out there. Okay. So we are not seeing a lot of foreclosures because the government is trying to prevent these foreclosures, right? They don't want anybody closures, or at least less people. So in first quarter, they saved about 60,000 homeowners from going through foreclosures. And since 2008, they have saved 6.7 million troubled homeowners. And that's a lot. And you can see this graph from here, 2008 until now. And now, since 2020, we had that forbearance. We had a lot of different plans where the lender just cannot take you to foreclosure because you stopped making your payments or you didn't have any hardship. Our hardship for everyone was COVID. So you can see that since 2020, that it was the highest at 2020. Okay. The government is there to save these loans, help them modify. Remember, we went through a FHA. There's a new FHA where you can do 40 years. So they will do it to clients like these or borrowers like these where they don't have enough funds or they do have a hardship, but the government is trying to still save them. Okay. And let's look at this chart here. And this shows the existing home sales versus your 30-year fixed rate mortgages. So when your mortgage rates are low, you can see here, there's more sales being done. When we have your interest rates are really high, then you have less sales. So same thing now. We are around, we don't have the graphs or charts for May yet or after, right? But you can see that when the interest rates are going to be higher, we're going to be selling a little bit less, right? But again, all comes to inventory. If we do have more properties on the market, there's no like doesn't matter which listing agent it is right now, the buyer's agents are hungry enough to show them the property and go under contract as soon as possible. So let's look at these stats here, and these are the housing inventory for the whole America here. You can see that around 84 million properties are owner occupied, right? That's a lot, and that's what we usually see. And your renter occupied homes are around 43 million, and vacant about 15 million. Okay. So when we say, should you buy a house now, right? One question that your client will tell you, will the market crash? And second is that, will the prices actually increase? And your conversation should be that it really depends on your scenario. If you're going to live there for a year or two, it might not make sense to buy that house and be committed for 30 years when you know that you're going to be there for a couple of years. It could be a temporary job if you're just not too sure of your family status or whatever the case might be. But if you know that you're going to live in that neighborhood or you want to be in that house for at least, 5 to 10 years, then it would make sense to live in that property and actually have some appreciation value. So we're looking at a historical appreciation rate, which is around 4.3, 4.35 for Nassau here, right? And when you look at your 10 years now span, you can see that the first year, let's say you purchased a house for $600,000. Year two, it might go up around $26,000, and then to $50,000 year two, $81,000 in year three, and so on and so forth. If you're going to live there for 10 years, your house can be worth between 880 till 918, right? And these numbers that we're seeing, we're not just making these up. Every different county has different historical rates. So these rates are being tracked for last 60 years, right? So they know that in this area, the houses appreciate around this rate, right? And just like, if you increase this rate, obviously this amount will be higher. But just know that if you're purchasing a house today and you're going to live there for 10 years, there's a good chance that when you leave that house, you're going to take away some good amount of equity. Okay. That's your net profit. So far, so good. Any questions, concerns, anything in your mind, guys? Yes. Sure. Yes, that's the capital gain tax you're talking about, right? So you're so let's say exactly, we'll use that example. So if you purchased a house for $500,000 and you're selling it for $1 million, right? You're making $500,000 profit. The government will forgive your first $250,000 if you're single. Yeah. So you're gonna pay the rest 250. If you're married, you have $500,000. Uh, yeah, forgiveness. Okay. Yeah. Everybody on the same page? Okay. So there is a new bill coming. So they're trying to double this. So these numbers that we just spoke about, 250, forgiveness, the government is giving for capital gain, they're trying to double that. For single, they're trying to give 500,000, and for a couple up to $1 million, but it's not implemented yet. So for now, it's $250,000 for a single person. Okay. Yep. You're welcome. All right, guys. Next is that early payoff. You guys should know a little bit about this, where you guys can, let's say you have a monthly payment that you're making, it could be any amount. If you start throwing a little bit extra money towards your principal, it can save a lot of years on your mortgage. So even if you have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, you know your interest rate will not change for 30 years, but your monthly payment that you have, you want to add a little bit extra towards it. Okay. So let's say you purchased a house for $625,000 and you paid 20% down payment and your loan amount is $500,000 and your interest rate in today's market around 6.92, and it's going to be a 30-year mortgage. And whatever your payment is, you're going to make $200 extra on that mortgage, and that's going to go towards your principal, right? So far, so good. We're going to have $500,000 loan at 6.92, and they're just making $200 payment extra on their mortgage. What will that happen? So let's say before it was 3,300, now with this extra payment is 3,500. It's going to save them 5 years. So that 30-year mortgage is going to turn into 25 years of mortgage. Okay, huge difference, 5 years. That $200 per month, how much interest will that save them? It will save them $130,000 over the span of these 25 years. So that $200 can go a long way. So I hope everyone understands that. Let's say their payment is normally 3,300. They call up their bank and they say, "Hey, I want to make $200 payment extra towards the principal every month." And they will set it up, and you will definitely save 5 years and over $130,000. The more you put down for your monthly payment, the more years you will save, right? Some people like to put $500, whatever your amount is, but at least if you're putting something, you'll start saving years right off the bat. The reason being is that this amount will go directly towards the principal, and it will affect these interest rates and your savings by a lot. Okay. Any questions on that, guys? So if you guys own a home as realtors, right, you have your first property, look at your statement, see what it is, call up your lender. I want to make a payment, to 300, whatever your amount is, and they will set that up for you. And make sure that payment is going towards your principal. Yeah. Yeah. These lenders out there, right, they're making a living out of your interest, right? So your every interest rate, that's how they're making their living. So they don't want you to pay extra. They don't want you to pay anything, majority of the time. But we want to educate you guys where you guys are actually being proactive and making sure your clients knows as well that, hey, have a conversation with your loan officer, and the loan officer will make sure they can advise them how much money they're actually putting down and how much savings that they're having because of that. All right. Yep. Thank you for your input, guys. Yep. All right, guys. If no questions, let's move on to, there are some agents out there. There are some good agents, some bad agents, right? Some unethical agents that we see. So I have witnessed this recently with one of our agents, where our agent calls the listing agent, "Hey, is 123 Main Street available?" And the listing agent says, "Where are you calling from?" "Hey, I'm calling from LJ Realty. Is 123 Street Main Street available?" And the listing agent says, "No, it's not available." And then 5 minutes later, your client calls the same listing agent, "Hey, I'm a buyer. Is this property available?" And the listing agent says, "Yes, it is available." Just 5 minutes earlier, it was not available. And now for a direct client, it is available, right? That is not legal, right? So if you had a phone call like this, you want to send them a text message right away. Hey, send them your business card, or send them with a full text message. "Hey, good morning, I just want to confirm, is 123 Main Street available?" So this way, if they reply back to that and says no, we have written proof. So instead of a conversation, unless you recorded that conversation, perfectly fine. If not, we need a text message where it's written proof, or it could be an email with written proof that that they're saying, they're denying that. Meanwhile, it is showing on MLS that it's available, and yet they are showing it to your client directly, but they're telling you that it's not available. That's a big problem, right? So in that case, you do want to get the brokers involved, right? You want to call me right away. Hey, I'm going through this. I'll call that agent's broker and tell them, hey, this is what happened. How are we going to resolve it, right? And if we can't go through that, then we will file a complaint with MLS. Being part of MLS is being, all these members, there's like almost 40,000 people on MLS through LIBOR. So we want to make sure that they can help us out. Okay. So if you ever go through this and you know that, your listing agent that you're speaking to is not being ethical, we need to take some action. Otherwise, he or she is going to keep doing the same thing with other agents. And we already know that the inventory is so low, it's so hard, the interest rates are so high, compared to what it was. Your clients are debating, should I buy or should I not, right? It and these listing agents are going through this now. That's a big problem, right? And when you are the listing agent, it's not about if, it's just about when you guys become, have your own listings, please just do the right thing. If your agents from another agency, doesn't matter, any agency out there, we want to treat them the same way. All these agents are individual people that are working with different agencies, and they are great hardworking people, and they just want to help their clients just like how you want to help them, right? So just do the right thing, show them the property. If it happens to be they have the best offer, just move on. Just move on to the next transaction. Hey, let's make more money out of new transactions instead of just worrying about one transaction and trying to making double commission from both sides, right? That's what it all boils down to. It's just greed. So if you want to stand out, just do the right thing, guys, right? It's like I said, legal action will be taken for these listing agents that do not comply. And if you're going through this, please let me know. Let's get the details and let's see if we can take some action on these guys. Okay. Any questions, concerns? Anyone want to share anything on that note? All right, guys. So how about if talking about ethical, we know you guys are ethical. We are going through this. We have no issues with our agents so far. Touch wood. Hopefully it stays this way, right? But once we have a team, this is why these trainings are there. We want to make sure that you guys know. But if you haven't sold a house being a listing agent yet, so we want to find out why not, right? So it might be few of these things. Maybe that you don't have enough market knowledge, right? Maybe you're just getting started, which is perfectly fine. We all start at zero, right? So you do a couple of transactions on the buyer side, you figure out the process, hey, I went through this. This is the conversation I had with the listing agent, and you want to be that listing agent. Second is that you may lack a unique selling proposition, right? You want to make sure that you have your slides. You want to have your presentation. You want to practice that. If you want to do that with me here or one of the team leaders, if when you join, perfectly fine. Do those things. Just be ready for that, right? One great example is Mr. Ali here, right? He's one of our top agents when it comes to listings. His presentation is always top notch. He can be competing with 5 6 different agents and be very confident, go in with his experience and his iPad and presentation, and he just does a great job. It's hard to ignore that, right? And it just doesn't come easy. It just doesn't come overnight. It comes with experience and all that, right? Next is that they just don't have marketing plan that gains sellers confidence. Again, you want to be able to say, hey, if I get your listing, I want to be able to go under contract in 30 days. The way the market is, you should. If the price is too high, adjust it, right? You have your tools to make sure to tell your seller that, hey, I know you want $1 million, but look at these comps and all that. Probably $900,000 is might be the max, right? We'll put in the market and we'll see how the market speaks. So you want to make sure that you giving them proof that, hey, this is what I think because of that. And then maybe just lack of focus on listings. They just focused on the buying side. Buying side is great to start off with, guys. Renting is great to get you a quick buck. Hey, I'm renting out basically a place in less than a week. But when it comes to buying, hey, it might take a month, 2 months, 3 months. But when you have completed a couple of those transactions, you do want to focus on listing. Listing should be your plan. How can I get the listings, and how do I actually meet up with these clients? You have to set up appointments. Not every one of them will tell you, yes, hey, you came to this, you met me, yes, I want to give you the listing. No, they want to make sure that they get it right from the first day. So the sellers have that dilemma that, hey, if I go with this person does not have enough knowledge, they put in the market, it's going to make me look bad and it's going to make my property look bad, right? So being a listing agent, you got to make sure that you focus on the listing, you know what you're talking about to these sellers. And if you don't have any, basically a farm area, you don't know where you're going to be actually targeting, you know again, same thing, given going back to Mr. Ali here, for many years now, South Ocean Park, he has been door knocking, he's been, postcards, sending out postcards, doing online advertisement, plenty of different stuff that he's doing. And then, you get your name out there. So you pick an area, pick different, different blocks, and it's like, hey, I just want to target this area and let me see what I can do. Now the weather is good and all that. Not a lot of people are door knocking. If you do it, you will stand out. You want to be a listing agent, you got to be different, right? It's just not going to be like, hey, they're going to give you a listing. You're brand new agent, I'll give you a listing. It just doesn't work like that. So let's focus on being a listing agent. Anytime you have a, if you're a little bit scared and you don't know what to say, joining a team is a great option. You can have your team leader, hey, this is my first presentation, come with me. These team leaders can go with you guys, right? So the team leaders can bring a lot of value to you guys when it comes to listing. Okay, guys, any questions, any concerns? All right, guys, being on the buyer side, right? Buyer's agent, how, like, we're competing with so many other agents out there, and the biggest threat to you guys is Zillow itself. Client goes to Zillow.com, looks at the property, clicks on, hey, need more information. Zillow is taking that, sending it to the person that's advertising with Zillow, right? You're losing that client. You might be already showing them plenty of properties, but Zillow might just take that listing or that client from you in a heartbeat, right? So how do you make sure that you are competing with Zillow on top notch level with your KV core? So your first interaction that you have with your buyers, right? You want to ask your question yourself, this: how long does it take you or take me to send them properties? Your first interaction could be hello, hi, you're giving your business card, meeting up with them in the office. It could be a phone call, whatever your first interaction is. How long does it take you to send them properties? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 3 days? Or is it 3 weeks? Right? With the tools that you have, you can set up everything in 30 minutes. It should be this option here. It should definitely not be 3 days or 3 weeks or anything else besides 30 minutes. If you, let's say you had interaction with them and you have another job, you're, whatever, part-time, full-time, and you have the information, it should be the same day. Hey, I'm going to go home. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I set up alerts in KV Core and I send them at least, the 20 properties in one shot. If you learn the correctly, how to set up those alerts, it will literally take you 10 minutes to do it and maybe 2 seconds to send them 20 properties, and anything else that comes on the market, you will see it in your alerts. So you got to really ask yourself, hey, how could I stick out from the rest? Is going to be through this, making sure that they're seeing your new property, whatever area they told you. It could be in Brooklyn, Bronx, anywhere they want, whatever, Queens, Long Island, anywhere they want to be in. We want to make sure that we're sending them the alerts, a link right away, as soon as possible. If they're in the office, set up the alerts and review those 20 properties together. Like, that's the best thing you can do. Like, hey, let's look at, we just want to pick out five. So this way, let me start showing you these properties. Okay. This part is a must. If you're not doing this part as buyer's agent, there's no way you're going to be effective in your position. Okay. And then are you showing the same week, right? Are you texting new properties from KV Core? Anything new that comes up, and you really need to know what they really your clients' needs are. We know that they want a lot of stuff, but we really need to know what they really need, right? Once they you hit those specs and you put in KV Core and you're showing them properties with those specs, which is the bedrooms, the bathroom, the lot size, the area they want to be in. Once that is set, you're doing the core part. So you got to show them to make sure that whatever else that they wanted is actually in that property. But the needs part got to come from you. You don't want to send them any property that does not meet their needs. So KV Core does a great job of just filtering that out, and you just got to make sure that you're actually enforcing it to your clients. Okay, so really know your needs or their clients' needs. Okay, and now this is the part that you got to be honest with yourself, guys. Right? If you have other jobs, I respect that. There's no issues with working part time, full time there. But just ask yourself, how many hours are you working on real estate activities versus your social media? It could be TikTok, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, right? And just write down, or just you can check on your phone how many hours you're actually spending on those. So that's like your time wasted versus your real estate activities. It will be money earned, right? Those are your potential clients that you can make, X amount of money. We know that, it's so hard to get your clients. And once you have them, why not spend some time to actually show them the properties? Nobody's telling you to not be on social media. Just reduce the time and increase your time for your real estate activities. You're on the same browser, right? You could be on the same phone. You could be on, on your Chrome. Just spend a little bit less time on those. And I'm not judging anyone. I'm on this too. You know what I mean? These platforms are really addictive, right? So we want to make sure that we're controlling ourselves, just a little bit less time on that and more time on your real estate activity, guys. Okay. Once you know your systems, you're really hustling to get your clients in and everything like that. You want to make sure you have these things check marked. If you haven't done any leads and everything like that, you want to start off with Op City, right? Sorry, 1 second, guys. Yeah. So first you want to start off with Op City, right? Once you have your Op City running, is it great? It's not great for everyone. Some people love it, some people hate it, but trust me, there's closing being done through Op City. Okay? Those leads. You're not paying anything upfront, and you're gonna be basically paying them at the closing. If you have some funds available to start advertising on Zillow, do so. We as brokers, we pay half of that for you guys, up to 50% of your budget. So once a lot of you guys started doing this since we started promoting Zillow for you guys. 50%, whatever your budget is, we'll pay half of that. Be on Zillow. If you don't have your profile on Zillow, that's a big red flag. You want to make sure that you have a profile on Zillow, right? Once you have closed 5 deals, you can join Redfin, right? Redfin is the same as Zillow and OpCity, but with Redfin is that you must close 5 deals and then you can advertise with them. And a lot of agents ask, do the postcards work? Postcards do tend to be on the expensive end because you actually need to get them printed out and then send them by, post office. And does it work? Yes. That's the reason that listing agents focus on the postcards. So it really depends on you. I don't recommend postcards in the beginning. Once you have closed couple of deals, OpCity, you have closed deals under Zillow, then you can go through the postcards. That might be a good option. To start off with, I don't recommend it. Once you're experienced, I do recommend it. And your strategy for postcards should be pick an area and repeat that. So let's say you pick an area, one zip code with maybe 3 different routes. You want to keep beaming those 3 routes a couple of times before you do any other routes. Okay. And we know social media is free, and then you can promote yourself. If you don't want to promote yourself, at least have your free profile set up and start sending out different even the post that we share with you guys in the morning, or learn Canva, and just like, learn these things that you can start promoting yourself. We have our assistant available now, that she's came on board a couple of weeks now, and she's learning this whole Canva thing. Before I was doing it, now she'll be helping me with those. So all these for sale, under contract, sold listings that we have, she'll be making the postcards probably in no time and sharing it with you guys, right? So I do apologize that there was a pause for a couple of months, because I just didn't have enough time. But now we're coming on board, so anytime MLS gets updated, we'll definitely give you a new social media post to post. Okay. Any questions on lead, guys? Yes. So Facebook, all the social media, we are at LJ Realty Team. Okay. Yeah. LJ Realty Team, as one word, no spaces. Okay. And if you want to follow me directly, and I'll follow you guys back, it'll be Lucky Singh CEO, as one word. Hmm. Singh, Singh, Singh. I'll put in the chat for you guys. Yeah, I'll put in the chat both LJ Realty Team. Okay, and I'll send it to you guys. All right. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Go ahead. Hmm. Perfect. Send me the phone number, because I did get another phone call for similar thing too, and I told him we're part of Opcity already, and he couldn't answer all my questions. So I was a little iffy about that same person. So I don't know if it's the same guy or not. So send me their message, or their phone number, and I'll verify that. Okay. Guys, there's just so much fraud going on. There's so many, like, you guys see that every week, that there's a new phone number that's pretending to be me and asking for you guys to get some gift cards. uh, Please, any of those messages that you guys get, just share that with me at least one time, so I'll share with the team. The last thing I want is someone actually going through this and paying up these guys. One of our agents, she actually asked them more questions, and he said, or she said, that I needed five of the 100 gift cards, so $500. So, like I said, yeah, so it's a lot of money. It's fraud, spam, scam, everything you can think of. So just as long as, like I said, number one safety net is our Microsoft Teams. Nobody can log into Microsoft Teams and then send you a message. That will be my first approach. I want to keep everything in Microsoft Teams. Otherwise, if you guys get a text message, it'll be either our KV Core number 516, or it will be my Ring Central 516 number, right? I have shared that with you guys. I'll share that again with you guys. But anytime you get a message from any other number, any other area code, simply don't reply to it, right? All right, guys. Yep. All right, guys. And new agents, right? Please join a team. We have these great team leaders. We're just getting started with these teams, and but these agents that we chose for you guys are really. I think there's some static. I'm gonna meet you. Okay. So please join these teams. One of these teams, I don't care which one you guys do join, but these are great team leaders that can really help you. We just mentioned that they can help you on the listing side, the buying side. They have their own leads which they will give you, so you can be more productive. If you have not closed a deal yet, you should definitely be part of a team. If you have closed few deals and you need more leads, more, just more help on the real estate side, join a team. There's no harm in this. End of the day, it's a win-win situation. So we go through these teams. We have our Mr. Ali here with Team Purple. We have Rupinder with the Team Gold. We have Mr. Hassan with Team Green, and we have AP with Team Blue. All these great guys and girls, and they have experience, so they can really help you guys grow. So end of the day, that's what we want. On our ljmortgageteam.com, we have our all the loan officers there as well with their phone numbers now. So if you want to reach out to Sandeep directly, you can just call her there, or James, or Galzen, Bonaparte, any of these guys here, Tarlochin here, Pramod, Leon, Philip, and Mohammed, right? So you guys can reach out to these loan officers and say, hey, I have a client and they need this. Instead of working with Josh or Lucky, I'd rather work with you. We're perfectly fine with that. Both of you guys as LJ Realty team and LJ Mortgage teams are part of the same company, so we want you guys to work together. Just, we always like to say this, that there's no kickbacks. Don't expect any kickbacks or any money or anything in return from these loan officers. What they can promise you is great service. They'll clear to close within 21 days on average, provide you guys with all the programs available, FHA, conventional, bank statement, no income check. They have all the programs available. They're well trained and they can really help you. Okay. Last piece, we have about 5 to 10 minutes, guys, is all about you guys. Any questions, comments, any feedback? How can we make these meetings better? Any topics that we want you guys want us to go on the next time? But just any feedback in general. Sure. Hmm. Sure. Sure. So yeah, when we're promoting, because we're gonna be end of the day, those squeeze pages on KV Core, right? Those are great. You guys can create them. If you guys need any help, we can help you guys with that too. But once you have that URL, right? When you're posting it on your Instagram or any social media, and the body there, just don't mention, one property's address, or details for just one property. As long as you can say, hey, new properties or new condos available in this zip code, take a look, or just say, hey, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, property available in Elmont, and then you have that link, you know as long as you guys keep that description vague, and once that link is going towards your page and the person is looking at those properties, they're already on your website. So that's the best approach you can do. But just make sure that we stay in compliance. We don't want to put just one property itself, because we don't have the authorization from that listing agent to advertise or not, right? So as long as you guys keep it on that note, I think you guys should be fine. Any other questions, concerns, guys? Are these meetings any helpful? Any positive, negative feedback? I'm more focused on negative. Anything that you guys can help me improve here.